The life cheat code. Why simple always wins. Let me ask you a dangerous question. What if the reason you're feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or unsuccessful isn't because life is hard, but because you are addicted to complexity? Think about it. We live in a world where everyone wants a 12-step routine, a customized metabolic diet, or a secret strategy that costs $997. We treat life like a high-level math problem. But deep down, you already know the truth. To get fit, eat real food, move daily. To build wealth, spend less than you make, invest the rest consistently. To build great relationships, show up, listen, and care. That's it. But simple doesn't feed our ego. Simple doesn't make us feel like a genius working on a master plan. So, we manufacture chaos. Today, we are tearing down the illusion. Here are 10 psychological realities that will rewire how you view everything. Chapter 1. The Trap of Over-Optimization. Have you ever spent 3 hours organizing your color-coded productivity app only to end up getting zero actual work done? Welcome to action faking. Psychologists call this procrastination via preparation. Your brain releases dopamine just by planning to be productive. When you spend 2 hours researching the best workout shoes instead of doing 10 push-ups, your brain tricks you into thinking you've made progress. Complexity is often just a fancy shield against the fear of failure. If you create an impossibly intricate 50-step plan and fail, you blame the plan. But if you keep it simple and fail, you have to face yourself. Stop optimizing the starting line. The secret isn't a better system, it's lower friction. Reduce every goal to its absolute minimum viable action. Want to read more? Don't plan for an hour. Read 1 page. Chapter 2. The Paradox of Effort. Philosopher Alan Watts called it the backwards law, but psychologist Aldous Huxley named it the law of reverse effort. The harder you consciously try to force something, the harder it becomes to achieve. Try forcing yourself to fall asleep right now. Squeeze your eyes shut and demand your mind to rest. What happens? Your heart rate spikes, adrenaline releases, and you're awake for the next 3 hours. Try forcing yourself to be charismatic on a first date. You become stiff, awkward, and hyper-aware of your hands. Why? Because extreme effort communicates desperation to your brain. Desperation triggers a threat response. When you death grip an outcome, you shift from a state of flow to a state of survival. High performance requires relaxed alertness. Chapter 3. The spotlight effect and social anxiety. Here is a liberating truth that will instantly cure half your social anxiety. Nobody is thinking about you. In psychology, this is known as the spotlight effect. We mistakenly overestimate how much other people notice our appearance, mistakes, or awkward moments. A famous Cornell University study proved that people overestimate how many peers notice an embarrassing shirt they wear by more than 50%. The truth? Everyone else is living in their own mental movie, starring themselves, worrying about what you think of them. When you make a mistake, stumble over your words, or fail publicly, people might glance for 3 seconds before returning to their own internal noise. You are a background extra in almost everyone else's film. Stop living your life based on the imaginary commentary of people who aren't even watching. Chapter 4. The Glymphatic system. Let's talk about the biological reason your decisions crumble when you don't rest. For decades, neuroscientists wondered how the brain stayed clean. Your body uses the lymphatic system to clear out waste, but your brain is sealed inside the skull. In 2012, researchers discovered a hidden mechanism, the glymphatic system. When you enter deep sleep, your brain cells literally shrink by up to 60%. This contraction creates space for cerebrospinal fluid to surge through your brain tissue like a high-pressure dishwasher. It flushes out metabolic waste, including beta amyloid proteins, the same waste linked to neurodegenerative diseases. When you pull an all-nighter or sleep terribly, this cleaning cycle is cut short. You wake up with physical toxic trash sitting in your neural pathways. That brain fog isn't emotional, it's biological clutter. Sleep isn't a reward for working hard, it is the fundamental baseline for clear thinking. Chapter 5. Cognitive dissonance and the justification engine your brain is not an objective judge. It is a full-time defense attorney. When your actions don't align with your deeply held beliefs, it creates a painful psychological friction known as cognitive dissonance. Because this friction feels uncomfortable, your brain instantly goes to work, rewriting reality to protect your ego. If you know you should save money, but you buy an expensive gadget you can't afford, your brain doesn't say, "I made an impulsive mistake." It says, "Life is short. I deserve this investment in my happiness." We don't make decisions based on cold logic. We make decisions based on emotion. And then we construct logical arguments to justify them afterward. Once you realize your mind is constantly rationalizing bad choices to keep you feeling comfortable, you can start catching yourself in the act. Chapter 6. The Hedonic Treadmill and the Illusion of Then. Once I land that dream job, I'll finally be happy. Once I buy that house. Once I get into that relationship. Welcome to the Hedonic Treadmill. Psychology shows that humans have a baseline level of happiness. When something amazing happens like winning a major award, your happiness spikes. But within weeks, a phenomenon called hedonic adaptation kicks in. Your baseline resets. What was once an incredible luxury becomes your new normal. The exact same thing happens in reverse. Major setbacks lower your mood temporarily, but over time, most people adapt back to their baseline. If you build your entire life around chasing the next milestone to feel complete, you are running on a treadmill that never stops moving. Happiness isn't waiting for you at the finish line. It's hidden in your ability to appreciate the mundane steps of the process. Chapter 7. Selective Perception and the Baader-Meinhof Phenomenon. Ever decided to buy a specific car, and suddenly you start seeing that exact car on every street corner? Did everyone suddenly go out and buy that car overnight? No, that is your reticular activating system at work. Paired with the frequency illusion, also known as the Baader-Meinhof phenomenon, your brain receives millions of bits of sensory information every single second. To prevent you from going insane, your RAS acts as a filter, letting through only what it deems important to you. If you focus on opportunities, growth, and reasons to be grateful, your brain actively filters the world to show you evidence that supports that worldview. If you focus on grievances, unfairness, and doom, your RAS will make sure you see a world full of misery. You don't see the world as it is. Chapter 8. The Power of Pre-Commitment Devices. Stop relying on willpower. Willpower is a limited battery that drains every time you make a choice, resist temptation, or deal with stress. Instead of relying on willpower, smart people use pre-commitment devices, or Ulysses pacts, named after the Greek hero Ulysses, who tied himself to the mast of his ship so he couldn't succumb to the irresistible song of the sirens. A pre-commitment device locks your future self into good behavior before temptation strikes. Don't want to scroll on your phone late at night? Don't rely on self-control at 11 p.m. when your brain is exhausted. Put your charger in another room at 8 p.m. Want to eat cleaner? Don't buy snacks thinking. Chapter 9. The Negativity Bias and the 5-1 Rule. You could receive 10 glowing compliments today and 1 harsh insult. What will you think about while lying in bed tonight? The insult. Every single time. This is the evolutionary negativity bias. To our ancestors, missing a threat like a predator in the bushes was fatal, while missing a reward like a bush full of berries was just unfortunate. Your brain evolved to prioritize negative signals over positive ones to keep you alive. Psychologist John Gottman found that in relationships, it takes 5 positive interactions to offset the psychological impact of just 1 negative interaction. Understanding this bias is a superpower. When a single negative comment, bad review, or minor mistake ruins your entire afternoon, recognize that your brain is overreacting out of an ancient survival instinct. Consciously weight positive feedback heavier to rebalance the scales. Chapter 10. The Synthesis. So, let's step back and look at the master blueprint. First, stop overcomplicating. Reduce goals to their smallest, simplest daily actions. Second, Release the death grip. Act with intention, but detach from desperate outcomes. Third, respect your biology. Prioritize deep sleep to clear your neural waste. Fourth, design your environment. Use pre-commitment tools instead of draining your willpower. Fifth, manage your focus filter. Train your mind to spot opportunities rather than threats. Life isn't a complex puzzle you need to solve. It's a simple game of consistency that we constantly interrupt with our own overthinking. Cut the noise, drop the ego, and focus on what actually moves the needle. If this gave you a fresh perspective today, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment below with the one chapter that hit closest to home for you. Let's keep simplifying life together. See you in the next video.